start off, I'm not a fan of making such a video, but so many were asking me to put out my statement. So here we go. After the Gods of Boom update in Season 8 has been online, the shitstorm started rising at the horizon and smashed down onto the developers and swapped over to me as well, at least to some extent. The reason I don't express my rage about the changes in the same extreme way as others, and I don't agree with the majority on some aspects. Also, I got accused of being bought off by the developers, which is not true. In the end, I kinda pushed me to making this video and give an official statement and opinion about all these events. I know everything I say in this video can and will be used against me, so I'm prepared for that, and trust me, I'm not gonna bow down to people that falsely accuse me of being paid for what I'm saying in this video or want me to voice myself in an inappropriate way. I hope I didn't create the impression that I'm going against the people in my community or in Guns of Booms, cause that's not my intention. I'm just planning to share with you and the developers my opinion. I want to take the opportunity to thank everyone that wrote a comment in the community tab to help me get a better picture of the whole situation. All of that being said, let's talk about the update, and to make sure that we are all on the same page, I'm just gonna summarize those very quickly. With the most recent update, we got a new loadout system with 3 new specialization classes. In total, we can create 5 different loadouts. Instead of 4 weapons, we can only take 2 of them with us into the battle, and those depend on the specialization we assign to the loadout slot. For example, we can only use snipers in the sniper class or a shotgun in an assault class. These specializations also affect the helmets and pants and vests we're allowed to equip. On top of that, these classes can be equipped with additional perks, which is completely new. In addition, these classes also determine which weapon categories we can pair up with each other. In total, we had roughly 39 weapon changes that got either nerfed or buffed. Lastly, there is this new weapon called Joker, the new helmet, and the event. That was a long list, and I'm sure that some that are watching now already forgot what I said at the start, and I feel that's the first major issue that comes in, and probably is a big miscalculation of the development team. The changes that were made are super aggressive and disruptive, and all of those in the sum create a totally different gameplay experience. From one day to the other, we all needed to adjust to a different playstyle, needed to figure out a completely different system, perhaps even needed to buy new weapons, and had to forget practically 90% of what we know from the old game that those who actively played it appreciated. And all of that, like I said, in one day. There was no clear communication that indicated such an extreme change that could have prepared us, so nobody could have foreseen this and also expected it. The only thing that was hinting towards it in some way was the renaming of the game into Gods of Boom, but who would have thought that this would follow? I'm not trying to tell here the developers how to develop a game and how to do business, but this change felt very inorganically or unnatural. You cannot change the core concepts of a game, turn everything upside down in just one day, and don't expect that there are people resisting against it. What the developers actually did very well in the last year was to introduce new stuff gradually. Added here and there bits of innovation so that we all had the chance to adapt to it. And they never changed the core concept of the game, but made it naturally become the app we just knew before a couple of days. Until, of course, the update has been launched. This time by introducing everything at the same time, that clearly failed, and that obviously had its consequences just by checking out the like to dislike ratio underneath Gods of Boom's video. Overall, we can say a new era has begun that started by renaming the game, and there is a 100% chance that there is no way of turning back, which the developers made pretty clear in a Facebook post earlier, I believe. And despite all of this mess, we also should not forget about some positive aspects. They were not demanded by me necessarily, but I've seen fragments of wishes for certain changes popping up here and there on certain platforms. For example, buffing gold weapons was a big request. It happened. In addition, I saw comments about having the chance to change the loadouts during the matches, as we were mostly stuck with just one, and the new loadout system clearly fixed that as well. Having said that, I gotta make a cut here again, however, cause despite of the buff of some weapons, a lot of top-notch weapons got nerfed. And it's not that some of them got just a tiny little bit nerfed, but some turned out to be a lot inferior to others. Right now I'm speaking about the Odin, the Barracuda, and finally the Reaper. The Barracuda struggles to compete with a lot of other snipers, and the same applies for the Reaper and the Odin in their respective classes. Probably some still remember the times when I was grinding myself for the weapons, and I was not in the content creator program where I'm getting now that stuff for free. It was a hell lot of grinding getting those weapons, playing hours and hours per day for 2 weeks just to get one weapons to the max. During that time I knew, if I'm not making it in those 2 weeks, I can't use the weapon in the matches, cause often having the weapon on one lower level than its max makes them unusable for playing in the big league. On top of that, I would not know when the weapon is coming back, so it's even worse, cause by not getting it, I'm automatically at a disadvantage to other players that have it, and I was under huge pressure cause obviously I wanted to play on that level, and on top of that I'm a YouTuber, so if I don't get that weapon, well, things were not looking that good. So until that weapon returns, people would destroy me, so there is only one chance I had, grinding as much as possible. So now imagine, in the last half year you thought I gotta stay on top of the game. I'm investing a lot of time or money or both to get all of those 3 weapons. The weapons that promise me that I can face other players in top levels on even terms. At the end, all of these 3 weapons suddenly get nerfed from one day to the other. That is one of the most frustrating things, as you literally wasted your time and all the efforts you put into those are just meaningless. I see that aspect as one of the biggest threats to the game, and also a factor that destroys trust between the players and the developer. I mean, we had buffs and nerfs already in the past, which already caused kind of a big uproar, but now we got 39 of those. Chances are high that your loadout suddenly is not allowing you anymore to compete properly. Obviously, this just feeds distrust and draws a bad image of the business practices. You cannot expect that when you make it hard to obtain weapons, that everybody can simply switch to another loadout once you start buffing or nerfing them. I know there are so many different perspectives and opinions surrounding the update that it's also hard to include all of them in this video. So for time matters, I just want to talk about one last thing which is also for me hard to swallow. The change from a 4-weapon loadout to 2. That was definitely something that seriously distinguished Guns of Boom from other mobile shooters. So why? Why would you change that? Are there to assign specific roles to each player? So you're a sniper, you're the supporter, and you're the assault guy. But somehow wasn't that already the case when we had 4 weapons? We had people select the scout for rushing, so there were no snipers. We had others staying always in their sniper range. There were already different playing styles. It was not a homogeneous mass of players. Of course people could play as all-rounders as well, but what is bad about that? Honestly, that was enriching the versatility of the game. That's at least how I see it. And then there are also the perks. Imagine there was no change, everything would have stayed the same, but they just would have added those specialization classes which determine which perks you could use. So there are specific perks that make you stronger as a sniper, stronger as a supporter, and stronger as a rusher. And you could experiment around with them, so all-rounders could kind of find a very cool combination of different perks to become better in their expertise, and the same counts for all other classes. And that would have been determined simply by the classes you select, right? That would have been, I think, really, really cool. And this, I think, would have really enriched the game experience in the end. So this change from switching from 4 to 2 weapons was kind of completely unnecessary and was very, very disruptive to the game mechanics. Why would you fix a working thing when it already is a proven concept and it works? This is my biggest question I'm having. And overall, this comes back again to the communication part. What reasoning was there to make one or the other change? Just telling me we wanted to deepen the gameplay experience is not enough. What does that actually mean? Wasn't the previous gameplay experience not good enough? So many questions, and I don't see myself in the responsibility to investigate about that. I don't see myself as one of the leading the hashtag bring back Guns of Boom movement leaders or whatever you want to call it. In the end, I'm just a gamer that started putting up gameplay videos and enjoys live streaming. And that's still what I'm interested in, and involving myself in such a heated up discussion is just a hassle for me, but well, I did it this time. I rather feel like the developers, that's their part to do. They have to re-establish trust, they have to go out there, talk with everyone. So I'm gonna leave it to them. If they want to do it, then they should do it, if they see it as important. And if not, then not. And basically, that is going to do it for this video. I just stated my opinion. I don't think that anything is gonna change. You might be overestimating my power as a YouTuber, even though I have 20k subs, but what does that really mean? I mean, can I change something? Even if I would tell people to stop playing, would they? I don't think so. So, I'd rather just leave it at that. Everybody shall make their own decision if the game is still playable for them or not. If the developers change, you can also decide if you should give them a second chance or not. Well, that's all up to you. I just shared my opinion. I hope in some way it's gonna help maybe the developers as well to plan their next steps better, because we're not gonna go back apparently, and to design their game a lot more user-centered. And well, that being said, that's going to do it for me, guys. Have a great day. Peace out.